morning, everyone. It's the 29th of December, 2015, and today the situation is getting far worse. I really see this as an act of desperation. They keep wanting more and more children, and today there are 1,756 children in all 39 locations in America. And the MILABs, which I'd like to go into detail later, but I probably won't have time on this video, there are 41 MILABs. And the reason for 41 is because the criminally insane monster superego of George H.W. Bush, he wants 41 to represent his 41st, illegal corporate president role. And they call him Bush 41, and then the other filthy lying murderer that's his son is Bush 43. But the problem with that is there are several other locations on this planet that are literally the same thing. And the number one thing they do in MILABs is create these temporal beings. The second most important thing is creation of biological weapons. The third most important thing is the creation of chemical weapons of mass destruction. And then the fourth is child trafficking. And then they also have these transhumanism experience that many people call super soldier program. And this other military organization called SOCOM, and right off the top of my head, I just got the name yesterday and put it on yesterday's video, and after we download this, I'll go back and put more details below, because if somebody doesn't want to watch the video, they can at least read the report. This morning, SOCOM has brought 1,756 children in from South America, and they're from the countries of Brazil, Guatemala, Peru, Chile, and Ecuador, but also, and I think it's in Central America, Costa Rica. So it would be Central and South America. And I spoke with the Hall of Justice this morning, because I don't speak for other people and say, well, why do they rape and murder all these children? I'm like, well, I don't know, because they're criminally insane monsters. That's what I see. But I have a statement here. It's George H.W. Bush has ordered all of his minions of DARPA, CIA, the FBI, DHS, TSA, NSA, the Secret Service, ICE, many senators, congressmen, everybody in the White House, basically, they all rape kids, and all military branches. And they means the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and Marines, and then they have other people from these lesser-known secret, they're not really secret, like SOCOM, AFRICOM, EUROCOM, or whatever, AsiaCom, or whatever all those are called. But George Bush has ordered all of these people, quote unquote, get these kids fully loaded, unquote. And by which he means that he wants as many sperm deposits into these children as possible. Which, I really, to me it's just so sick and dealing with all this crap. Okay, so for some reason, the dark side feels that the more times that they ejaculate into children, especially children that have high sacred light content, the more that they will be rewarded in the afterlife. And in the past, there is some truth to that, because this whole nonsense that dogmatic religious belief that there's a hell, there's this magical place called hell, and the robot devil runs around, he's all red and runs around with a pitchfork chasing people all the time. That's total BS. They didn't go anywhere. All the people that worked in the German concentration camps and the Nazi soldiers, guess what? They don't go anywhere. They're still here. Most of the people who worked in these concentration camps are now either in Hollywood or in positions of military. And Benjamin Netanyahu is a perfect example of that, and so is war criminal Victoria Nuland. And what happens is most of these, when they serve the dark, most of the time the archons would take their soul and then later choose what bodies to put them in. And they usually choose people of these criminal organizations like the Freemasons, who I just met a family recently of Freemasons, and I was looking at their children, and I thought, there's something odd about these kids. I mean, they're kind of cute and everything. They seem well-behaved. And I started scanning their DNA, and all three of these children were Nazi soldiers. And like I just saw Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. My mom had rented it or got it from the library, and she wanted to watch it. And the actor, not the skinny little twit with the hair or his blonde girlfriend, who are both Illuminati, but the man that he played the role of Oscorp, the kid, he was a 20-year-old kid that was given Oscorp in the story. Okay, he's another one. It's like he murdered so many people in the German concentration camps. I think, let me go back and look. It was over 17,000 people, this 20-year-old kid who's now an actor, this is very, very common. And of course, all the regulars will be present tonight, and many men from other locations, many men from other countries are at the UN building, because the UN has a location that's strictly for child trafficking, and they have a little gang rape and murder party in the UN whenever these, they have 111 children right now at the UN to be gang raped and murdered today. And also, like I was saying before, there are other locations, and right now, as of 10:30 Eastern, there are 999 children being held in 8 locations. And the 8 locations, which are literally the exact same thing as MILABs here in this country, because there's really 41 plus 8, so there's 49 total. But then they also have other locations where they do, they're not really like full MILABs, but they still do, like when they create viruses like HIV. And which, by the way, both of the males that created HIV have been arrested. So I want to whip through, we've got 7 minutes here. I'd like to whip through all locations of MILABs in the United States. There's 2 in Washington, D.C., Wilmington, Delaware. The Pentagon has one. Raleigh, North Carolina. San Jose, California. And there's one in... Jackson, Mississippi. I'm sorry, I thought that was Michigan. I thought Jackson, Michigan's right over here, and they don't have a MILAB. There's one in Detroit. There's one in Lincoln, Nebraska. Then there's one in Las Vegas, which is at the Nellis Air Force Base. Carson City, Nevada. There's 2 in Los Angeles, one in San Bernardino, and then there was another one in California. I think it was San Jose. It was up by the Bay Area, San Francisco. Roswell, New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Denver. There's one in North Dakota. It's about 50 miles from Denmark. Minneapolis. There's 2 in Chicago. Crawfordsville, Texas is probably one of the biggest ones at the filthy lying murderer Bush family. Dallas, Houston, Alabama has one. I believe it's very near to Montgomery, Alabama. About 5 miles west, 17 levels down. Most of these MILABs are 17 levels below the surface. And then Atlanta, and of course Indianapolis. Thank you, Indianapolis, for raping and murdering over, 13,000 kids now? No, just under, I'm sorry, 12,900, that went way up. 12,900 and some, I'm sorry, I couldn't read the rest of that. Grand Rapids, Detroit. There's one in northeast Ohio near a town called Akron, which is a pretty large town, but I believe the suburb is called Tallmadge, Ohio. There's Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New Jersey, which is very close to Newark, New Jersey, and then there's 4 in New York. And one in the financial district. There's one upstate that they call it Camp David, but it's not a public name. They just call it that privately. And then East Midtown Manhattan. And then there's also one, which I haven't had time to research, but there's a place in Long Island where they've been doing all these bizarre experiments. And then sometimes I remember New Yorkers found like all these crazy animals washing up on shore. I couldn't get the name of that, but it's where they do most of these genetic testing of human-animal hybrids and reptilian, insectian, human hybrids, and just all kinds of, they just constantly mix all this stuff together to create new beings. And then there's also, and then the UN location. So there's 4 in New York plus the UN location. And Boston, Langley, Virginia, Arlington, Virginia. And yeah, it was San Jose, California. I said that already. Okay, it's better to say it twice than not at all, right? Okay, there's 2 MILABs in Moscow, and then there's a major one at CERN, and I can't pronounce it. I think it's called the Hadron Collider. It's right there. And also, they have one in Tokyo and one in Shanghai. There's one in the Vatican, and then there's 2 in London. Now, the 2 in London, one of them is more focused on creating these temporals, and the other one is more focused on, and then the temporals and the child trafficking go on that one. I think it's by Heathrow Airport somewhere, and it's also 17 levels down. But then the other one in London is under Essex Road. I believe it's on the south side of Essex Road, 17 levels down, and it's in London, but I don't have the exact, I don't have like the street address, but basically they just have an elevator. It's like you think it was like a service elevator for the cleaning crew or whatever, and they go up and they use that. And yeah, I met the and see, the temporals, what that means is it's like a video game to us. It's like a video game, and they put this like apparatus on. And the temporal body is really an extension of the person. Okay, so when they show up in our house, it's really an extension of the person. And this took me a long time to figure out because, like, you know, all these people would show up in my home and, you know, use weapons on me and stuff. And lately they've been sending a lot of artificial drones into our homes. Not just my home, but other people too. And the artificial drones, we don't see them with our regular eyes, with our eyesight. And, you know, it's because they're like slightly, I don't know, it's just some kind of technology where we don't see them, whether it's like a slightly different dimension or whatever. And they come in and fire weapons at us. But the other London location is where they train all these so-called terrorists who are all on the CIA payroll. Like the Paris attack, there were 46 CIA agents that pulled that off. And when I say CIA agents, I mean because they're on the CIA payroll. The Charlie Hebdo attack, that was CIA. They were all trained at the Essex Road MILAB in London. All of these, and then it's just amazing how, and then they put out the story, you know, like the filthy line criminal CNN network, who basically everyone on that network has 0% sacred light. And then they come out with this story, oh, well, guess what? It was Muslim terrorists. Well, they're not Muslim people. They're all on the CIA payroll. And yesterday, before I go, I'd like to share a funny story because this man named, I think his name is Xi Jinping. He came in, and I didn't know who it was. All of a sudden, this really hideously ugly man, I was like, oh my God, you're so ugly. Well, then I looked to the left, and this other guy, it was so funny. He goes, he was so funny. I'm like I said, and I swear to God is my witness. I said, oh, you're the Emperor of China. Well, feel free to drink from my toilet. Help yourself. He got really pissed off. You know why? Because Father God is destroying all these temporals, and hundreds at a time, like 300 or 400 at a time, and they get really pissed off because they have to go through all this to create these temporals, and then Father God just keeps destroying them. And to recap, we have 1,756 children about to be gang raped and murdered in 39 locations, 999 children in 8 locations worldwide. Thank you for your prayers for ending this child trafficking situation.